Thanks so much for joining us here in our Washington Broadcast Center. I'm Mike Walter. Flames raced through, or I should say it's a recipe for disaster that is all too familiar. A packed club, some closed doors, too many young people, and sparks from a so-called pyrotechnic machine. It happened again in a nightclub in Brazil, and the fatal fire killed at least 233 people on Sunday. That makes it the deadliest such fire in more than a decade. CCTV Stephen Gibbs has been following events for us from Rio De Janeiro. Stephen?
Well, Mike, there's a real sense of shock here that so many people and so many young people died in the space of a few minutes at an event that was supposed to be a celebration.
Tragedy at the start of the university term. Inside the Kiss nightclub, as many as 2,000 people, mostly students, had gathered for a live concert to celebrate the new academic year. Reports are that the fire began when sparks from a pyrotechnic display on stage set the ceiling on fire. The cramped space had only one exit. In the chaos and the dark, it was the smoke, not the flames, which killed the victims. And dozens were crushed in the panic to get out. The shock which all Brazil is feeling today was expressed and shared by the president.
I would like to say to the Brazilian people and to the people of Santa Maria that we stand together at this time, and that even though there's a lot of sadness, we will pull through.
She later cut short her visit to a regional summit in Chile to fly directly to the scene. Local media are reporting that the club's fire safety certificate was out of date, and that security guards had locked some exits to prevent people leaving without paying. As relatives of victims look at the desperate scene, their suspicion that what happened here might have been the result of negligence can only heighten their pain.
Well, the Brazilian government has, of course, promised a full investigation into this, but people are wondering just how much of what took place was avoidable.
And Stephen, I imagine a lot of people were saying, why did so many people have to die?
Well, that's the big question that the investigators will be looking at. And one of the key problems with this club, or one of the key things that happened, was that the fire was at one end and it seems the only exit was at the other. And evidence we're getting from survivors is that the security teams that were at the one exit weren't aware that the fire was happening. So as there was a surge of people trying to escape the smoke and the fire, the security people thought we were getting this evidence from the survivors that possibly these people were trying to escape without paying, were trying to leave the club without paying, and therefore they might have closed the doors for a crucial few minutes that certainly could have cost dozens of lives and were a crucial part of this terrible event.
Stephen Gibbs, live for us in Rio. Thanks so much. Brazil's safety standards and emergency response capabilities were already in the spotlight, given the fact that it's set to host the 2014 World Cup soccer tournament and the 2016 Olympics. The questioning is now likely to intensify. Paulo Cabral is in Sao Paulo with more on what Brazil can do to ensure we won't see a repeat of this tragedy. Paulo?
Well, look, you have to look at this from different angles. If you think of the World Cup in 2014 and the Olympics in 2016, in the venues, specific venues for these big events and also the airports, then probably it won't be more dangerous than in any other big stadium in other countries, any new big stadium, because these are under very strict scrutiny. And actually, the Brazilian laws regarding safety and security, they are quite strict. The big problem in this country tends to be, and it is in this case as well, the enforcement of this law. So the stadiums, the airports, these are really being looked at all times, so probably things will be all right. But yes, people may be in danger when they go to nightclubs in the cities, often as it seems to have happened in this case in Santa Maria. There are clearances that are out of date or cancelled. And this specific disaster in Santa Maria, actually it echoes one that has happened in Buenos Aires in 2004. It was the Republic Cromagnon, the name of that nightclub, and also with pyrotechnics started a fire. It seems that's what happened in Santa Maria. And I have actually talked during the day today to a few people that were in that party, to some survivors of this fire. And they have reported, a few people to me, that they have seen themselves, security guards, at first blocking the entrance of the door when they didn't know yet it was a fire. It was just some kind of mess inside. So we do have this witness reports. Of course, more inquiries needed, but there are some reports in that sense.
Paulo, I guess the one question that comes to mind is there anything Brazil can do to take additional steps, more safety measures to just ensure for the people who are coming there for these world events that things are safe?
Well, we really have to see what's going to happen right now. There will be a huge outcry at this moment. It is already happening. And I'm quite sure that over the next few days, we're going to see a more intense care of authorities checking nightclubs, but not sure really for how long this will last. Brazil has not a good track record in the sense. And yeah, certainly some kind of reaction will happen now, just not sure how long it will last.
Paulo Cabral for us. It's been several years since we've seen a nightclub fire as deadly as the one in Brazil. Let's take a look back now at recent history. It was in 1996, a fire at the Ozone Disco Pub in the Philippines. That one killed 162 people, many of them students celebrating the end of the school year. Then, in 2000, you may remember the horrific nightclub fire in Luoyang, China. That one, 309 people dying there when a welding accident caused a fire at a disco there. And then a few years later, in 2003, a nightclub fire in the United States state of Rhode Island. That left 100 people dead. We'll have much more on that in just a moment. Then, the very next year, in 2004, 194 people died when a flare ignited ceiling foam inside a club in Buenos Aires, Argentina, rather. And then the other big fire we've seen in recent years, this one in Russia in 2009, an indoor fireworks display ignited a ceiling that had been decorated with branches. Russian media reports say that that fire killed 156 people.